Hello world, it's Curtis Potter with Boundless Inspiration. Woo! I'm going to talk about this one, and it's getting easier. It's getting easier for me to admit this, but I have self-sabotaged so many times in my life, right? And I'm sure as I say that, like, dude, I shot myself in the foot so many times when making some dumb decisions. How many times have you self-sabotaged yourself and you're like, dude, what was you thinking, right? You know, and as you grow older, age, you start to be like, oh, there's a sign, don't do that again, right? So I got a call from somebody that was going to Florida, okay? And this person asked me if I could watch their kids last year when they went to Florida. And you know what? They're kids, and that this family is very near and dear to my heart. They don't live far from where I live. I don't have any animals or the kids at the house. So I was like, my house can sit empty, you know, it's no big deal. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy every moment with these kids, right? I'm a big kid. And I love these kids, and I love helping kids. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. And as I'm working, I was thinking about it, and I was like, hey, I remember last year when I went, you gave your kids money and said, hey, it's all up to you, fend for yourself. You know, this money's got to last you for a whole week. But see, what happens when you give it to kids? What did they do? Before I even got there, the first night, they did DoorDash and ordered some super expensive. One of them ordered a whole large pizza with wings and all this. The other one ordered a bunch of other stuff. One of them had spent all his money the first night. The other one was down to like $4. I was like, kid, like, what? You guys are, you know, one of them was about to turn 18. The other one was 13, you know. I'm like, you guys, come on, man. So all week I'm buying them food, which I didn't mind. But I'm like, look, first of all, first tip, when you ask somebody to help you out, make it the least amount of a burden as possible. So don't have somebody come watch your place for a week and they got to put food in the fridge, right? And whenever I messaged that person, I was like, hey, your kids are out of money. Can you Zelle me some money? Like, you know, I want to say, look, I'm doing you a favor. You trying to make me spend my money as well? That person said, well, I really don't have the money to. And I'm like, you're on vacation in Florida on the beach eating. I know you're eating out every single night. I saw the social media where they're doing renting wave runners, going to this place, going to that place. Like, they didn't just go sit there broke on the beach. They were out living on the high horse. And I'm like, you let your kids with $50 and all right. So I'm like, it is what it is. Invest some money, no big deal. So they asked me again, and I said, look, last time I was there, you know, I was spending all my money to help these kiddos eat. Like, we ain't even going out to all these super extravagant events or anything, just to eat. Can you please go grocery shopping before you go? And this person said, I don't have the money for that. And in my head, I'm thinking, that's the exact same thing you said last year when you went on your vacation that you couldn't afford. Now you're saying it again this year. You're over 40 years old. Now you even have a significant other. Well, actually, they had a significant other. Now they have another one. But now you got another significant other that makes plenty of money. You both went from paying your own rent and now you're paying rent together. How do you not have enough money to feed your kids, right? You was going to have to feed them anyways. But what it is the money that they do have, they're dumping into going on a vacation to blow all this money, right? And I'm not saying this to bash them. I've made that same dumb decision where I've put money into things that I didn't need to. And that's where I self-sabotaged, right? Just like those other times where I shoot myself in the foot, I self-sabotaged, and I'm like, you know what? Like, this year is different for me. where I am investing in a place like this, where I am investing money for professional podcasting equipment, all the soundboards, the mics, the everything. I'm investing because that's going to be part of building my wealth, right? So, are you in a place where you self-sabotage year after year after year, and you're like, why am I in the same position? Come on, man. Like, I guess it's in the forehead. Like, come on. How many times are you going to self-sabotage? And I'm not just asking you that. I'm asking myself, how many times are you going to self-sabotage that you just have to look in the mirror as I'm looking in this camera? I'm like, Curtis, you're making those decisions and it's keeping you in the same place in your life. Okay? And it's called going around the mountain. Imagine a train track as a kid that you put together and it just goes around and around and around, right? You got to buy more pieces to make it go in these different obstacles, right? And that's the same way in life. You're not going to change your life until you start making different decisions. How can I invest money instead of blow money? How can I invest time instead of waste time? Like, you know what? I had a cable guy come up to my house yesterday. He's like, hey, I want to sell you AT&T. And I was like, hey, I haven't had cable in 11 years. And he's like, you could tell he's just kind of like, huh? That's a thing? And I said, yes, because I've wasted so much time in my life and I realized it, that I said, you know what? Enough. Like, live 5 to 10 years like most people won't, so you can live the rest of your life like most people can't. And not only that, it's a generational thing. For me, you all know how much I love my son and daughter. And so all of these self-sabotaging things that I picked up and I put on my back like a backpack and I'm carrying with me, that I watched my parents, my aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, the bad mentors and people that I had in my life. I'm like, you know what? I can't put that curse on my kids. How am I going to... See, the thing is how am I going to teach my kids different? Because, see, it's so easy to be like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. And then they get older and they watch you. And they're like, but wait a minute. You don't do that. You don't do this. And what is it? Kids are a sponge. Like that country video, it's like, I want to be just like you, Dad. His kid cursed when he stubbed his toe, and he's like, where'd you learn that word? And he's like, I learned it from you, Dad. So how many times do you think you can self-sabotage and then expect your kids to be better, right? People follow as people are leading. So if you're really going to be telling other people, you know, even for me, I'm like, hey, if I'm going to be telling people this, then I've got to get 1% better every day. Don't just expect yourself to be this transformation overnight. But how can I stop doing this self-sabotaging a little bit at a time? Just a little bit, right? If you know you're walking into something, you're like, ooh, I know better. Well, you know what? How can I do something different? So, for instance, the last thing I want to leave you with is I had some subscriptions I was paying for and I wasn't using them. One of them was $99 a month and I used it hit or miss. But I was like, man, I've had this subscription for a whole year. I've used it minimal amount of times. And I was like, cancel, boop, deuces, you don't serve me. And then instantly, it's easy for my brain. The way that I was taught about money was like, what can I buy with this $100 a month, right? It's a paradigm that I had picked up and it just became a habit. And I was like, no, where can I invest this $99 a month? And I was like, I can rent a space. I could pay for my podcast to be on all the platforms, pay for this, pay for that. Well, what do you know? Everything that I needed to make my podcast to the next level, to a professional level, was $93 a month. What do you know, right? The money that I was already making and devoting to something that wasn't serving me is now something that's elevated me and my platform to the next level. So how are you self-sabotaging? When I say that, our brains work so fast, you already know. Where are you self-sabotaging? What's the flip side of that? How can I do the opposite? Because obviously if that's not serving you, then how can I do something that's the opposite that is going to serve me? And how can I reprogram my paradigm to never do this again? Maybe help others not do it. Because see, we go through life and we go through situations not just for you, it's actually for other people, to help other people through it. So then you start helping people, and next thing you know, that paradigm's going to be long gone, and you're like, man, I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. Shoot myself in the foot sucked, right? So I hope the person who I am watching their kids this week watches this video, and next year, that $2,000 that they're putting into Florida trips, maybe they just put it towards something that builds them assets and pays for their Florida trips for the rest of their lives. So I hope this helped. If you have a story or a lesson where you self-sabotaged and now you're doing something different and how much it served you, we want to hear the positivity. Like, how much did it serve you? Please put it in the comment section, and you know the drill. Like, share, comment, because every single day, we're all working together to being boundless. I love you all. Have a great day.